Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Sustainable Stace about starting starts. I just started some. I'm going to show you how to as well. Stay tuned.
I'm Stacy Taves. For me, healthy food and sustainability are totally connected. You can grow it yourself. Nature is generous.
The great idea about starting starts rather than buying starts is it saves you a truckload of money, and you also get the joy of getting your hands dirty early in the gardening season, choosing all the proven varieties of plants that you know you enjoy to eat the most and grow in your garden. And you can get a jump start on the season by getting them started in a protected or sheltered area, or even a greenhouse if you have one. You just need a few supplies. You might want containers. You could just plant them in a big tray of soil, but containers are nice, and a suitable size that kind of matches the size of the plant you're going to start and transplant. This might be really nice for lettuce. This would be good for something bigger like maybe cabbage or a tomato plant. Then I get some starter soil mix, and some starter soil mix, when I'm getting ready to use it, I moisten it. I add some water, not so it's soggy so you can squish water out, but so that it's clumping together nicely. Otherwise you're going to find it's going to compact very suddenly when you soak it down in a container. Then I get my seeds that I want. In this case here, I've got some pepper plant seeds. These are jalapenos, and I've made a little label or tag to match that says jalapeno, and I don't buy my tags. I cut up things like milk jugs or yogurt containers with a scissor, and I just cut up my pieces, and with a permanent marker right on there what it is that I'm going to grow. I've slid that here in a row with some of my nephews and nieces to help me out, and planted a variety of cabbages and tomatoes, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. It's very simple. Before we jump into that, I just want to talk a little about most favorite plant to start as a start before the season gets going, and I think that's tomatoes. So I'm just going to talk tomatoes with you for a second before we continue and plant. Now you might already know this about tomatoes, but I didn't know until very recently. Tomatoes fall broadly into two categories of types: determinate and indeterminate. Determinate are much littler plants. They grow and mature sooner because they don't get nearly as tall before they fruit. Determinate plants usually get to 3.5, 4 feet tall, which would be a meter, meter and a half. Indeterminate plants get more than twice that size. Last season, I grew indeterminate plants that were over 7 feet tall, 2+ meters. If you've ever gone past a commercial greenhouse operation growing tomatoes, they've got indeterminate plants. All I take when I find an heirloom variety, which means any old school variety that you can save the seeds from that I like, is I squish out one of the tomatoes and I write down with a marker what it is. So there's an indeterminate variety of Jeune Flamme, so it's going to grow super tall. An indeterminate variety of Big Beef. Within 2 days of squishing those seeds down on that cardboard, all the moisture dries out and I'm left with just the seeds. A super sweet teeny one that's indeterminate. Look at all the seeds from just 2 tomatoes. A yellow medium one, that's one of my favorite. I don't know the variety, it's just yellow medium to me, as in it's a medium-sized tomato, yellow flesh in color, and it's determinate, so it doesn't grow much more than a meter tall. So that's how I save my seeds for the growing season the following year, and then I just take a few of those seeds off of the cardboard and put it in the soil with an appropriate label to tell me what it is that I'm growing there. For when I transplant it, I want to make sure my indeterminate plants are at the north side of my growing area and my determinate plants are on the south side of my growing area, so they're not shaded by the indeterminate guys who tower over them like Goliath over David. It's an amazing thing to grow your own tomatoes from seed. Yes! So starting your own starts is a really simple thing. You got the right size container, some pre-moistened soil, the seed of your choice that you want to get a jump start on the season with, and you keep it moist. If you do that, any seed in the right conditions of warmth and moisture will germinate. If you can get it started 30 or 60 days before you're going to put it out into your garden, wow, you just advanced 30 to 60 days on how much sooner you'll be eating your own food rather than buying it from somewhere or getting it from a market somewhere. Isn't that a beautiful thing? That's hopeful, helpful, healthy. One of the things I love to do in connecting people with their food is to see how much children are attracted to growing food. They love coming into an organic garden and grabbing fresh asparagus and watching the bees buzz around pollinating flowers and pick their own strawberries, pick a carrot out of the ground and eat it right there. When they get to do that, it's an amazing connection. So I've got some special guests to help me plant out some of these seeds that we saved last season that we're going to rock out this season. So this is the funnest part about starting starts, is you actually get to start them. I'm with my nephew and niece. It's Isabella and Jude. Say hi, guys.
Hi.
All we're going to do is take some soil and we're going to pre-fill the containers, and the soil's already been dampened. And that way it's not gonna tamp down too much after we moisten it, because if you use dry soil, it's going to flatten down too much. We don't have to totally fill the containers, just moderately. And then what we've done is we've taken a variety, in this case, of tomato seeds. They're a determinate variety, which means they don't grow super tall, and they're yellow medium, and I've made a tag to correspond with that. So Isabella and Jude are just gonna take 2 seeds from that board and put them in a row of 3, and then we'll label them. So you guys go ahead and put 2 seeds in each one of there, and I'll get the next row of soil going. You're gonna put 2 of those in, Jude. Thanks, man. And put them just like this far apart, because maybe they both won't grow, but if we put 2 in each one, there's a very good chance one will. And we harvested these tomatoes from our greenhouse last year. Perfect. Excellent. Okay, and then let me just put a little more soil in that one, Isabella. Okay, go again. Put 2 more seeds in there. You guys are good. You got the fingernail magic. I'm gonna put 1 more in there, Jude. Just right there. Good. And now you're gonna do this. Each of you can do 1. I'm gonna take 1 little bit of this and I'm just gonna sprinkle it over top. Now you do that. Just set it down on the ground if you have to. Let Jude get a little bit. And we're just gonna sprinkle a little bit over top of the seeds. You do that one. And as soon as the moisture in the soil makes contact, we got magic. Yeah. And then we'll just give it a little love from the watering can. And look at that, we've just started seeds. We'll just keep them moist for a few days and they'll start to germinate and sprout. Dirty high fives all around. Yeah, baby. Good job, guys. We did it. Okay, so now we've got like the coolest cabbage seed ever. This is like the super funky German variety of big cone-shaped cabbage called a Filderkraut. I just want you to see how tiny these seeds are in here. There's about 40 or 50 in that little package there. All right, and Isabella and Jude are gonna plant some Filderkraut seeds. Here, hold out your hand. I'm gonna give you 3 each. Oh, that's more than 3, it's like 10. And we're just gonna put them in this row. So we'll put 2 seeds into each little container. Go ahead. Nice. Excellent, and you can put 1 there. Thank you. Okay, and then you guys can just grab a bit of soil out of the pail. And that's the key, pre-moistened starting mix. And I put 2 per container so that if one doesn't germinate, there's a second. You can always break them up. That's perfect. We'll tamp it down a little bit. You guys can, do you have your extra seeds still? Oh, save those rare Filderkraut seeds. Good job, Jude. Okay, and we'll give them a little bit of water. That's okay. And do you want to put the Filderkraut little sign in there so we know what it is? Nice. We're officially Filderkrauting. Okay, dirty high five. Give it to me, Jude. Boom. Thanks, guys. Woo! As I was saying earlier, you can just put a seed tray down with a bunch of starter mix in it and just scatter your seeds over it, just lightly, loosely, and then put a bit more starter mix on top of them. And here we've just block planted a whole bunch of little starts. Can't see them yet, they haven't come up. But this is gonna save a lot of time and a lot of containers and a lot of soil, and it works really well for things like lettuce or spinach that you wanna put in that don't have huge root systems, and they'll come up quickly. You just pull them out using like a kitchen spoon or a popsicle stick and then pop them in the ground. So that's a really simple way to save some soil and just get your seeds going. We are gathered here simply to look at this tiny, beautiful little sprouting broccoli transplant. And the reason I want you to see this little guy is simply to see this is the right size for a plant to be when you transplant it. You can see it had its first leaves, its primary, then it had its secondary, and now it's got its tertiary leaves coming. So the primary leaves, the very first pair of leaves, came from the energy that was germinating out of the seed. You wouldn't want to transplant it then because it has no root system. You want to wait till at least those secondary leaves get going, these new bigger solar panels, which means you've got some roots that are established. That's a nice time to dig a cute little hole, put a little bone meal in there for the roots to take place, and nestle in your transplant and pack it down nice and firm. That little guy, if it's given moisture and kept from direct super hot sun the first few days, it's going to take off and have a beautiful and productive life for you. Well guys, it's pretty satisfying to plant your own seeds and make your own starts. It takes a few minutes in advance of the growing season to have this incredible jump start on an early harvest, a huge money saving, incredibly healthy food. It lets you get your hands in the soil and be part of the action. It's the essence of hopeful, helpful, and healthy. Thanks for staying tuned on this episode of Sustainable Stace. And if you've been watching this episode on YouTube, can you just go down there in your bottom right hand corner, click on that subscribe button. Every time we get out a new video for you, you'll get an email letting you know that it's out there so that you can enjoy another great resource. Thanks for watching.